What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the truth about the supplement industry. Now, I'm getting compared from a lot of people, and I'm talking like 50 people a week contact me and say, you know, you and Rich Piana should get together. You guys are so much alike. And I don't know if we're so much alike as the fact that we've just been training a long time, seen a lot of shit, and are just coming out saying a lot of things that people are not saying and talking about. But we don't necessarily have the same views on everything. Now, Rich, likes to say that, he likes to go to the gym and get a pump and train for 3 hours. I'm out of the gym in 30 minutes. I'm more of the high-intensity, less pump type guy, so there are similarities, but there are also non-similarities. Now, he made the video talking about exposing the supplement industry, and I've spoken before about certain supplements I feel like you don't need, but there are definitely certain supplements that are beneficial, things that are making changes in people's bodies. Now, in health at the same time, which that I think is the biggest reason for someone to take a supplement is, if anything, for health reasons. Now, let me back up for a second. When I came back from college, I went to the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale for advertising and design. When I got there, I was heavily involved in the bodybuilding culture before I left. I was competing when I was in high school. I went down there, and I was so focused on I wanted to be a pro bodybuilder that I was pretty much in the gym all the time. I still got my studies done, still got great grades. But really quickly I learned that I didn't want to be in the corporate world doing, the 9-to-5 tie and shirt. Not that I mind wearing ties and shit, but that wasn't for me. I wanted to be in the gym. So I decided I was going to pack up, move back to Rhode Island, and pursue my career as a pro bodybuilder. That's what I wanted to do. But, of course, you got to turn pro first. So what do you do before that? You become a personal trainer. That's one way to stay in the gym. So I did personal training. I also worked at a gas station at the overnight shift for extra money. And eventually I wound up working at a place called Daniel Chapter 1, which I've spoken about before. At Daniel Chapter 1, the way I found out about this place was my cousin Keith, Keith Medeiros, who was one of the best wrestlers, hand down, in the whole fucking region. I mean, the kid was he just got inducted into the Rhode Island Hall of Fame, Wrestling Hall of Fame. He was phenomenal. And my uncle, Kenny, was very big against steroids and drugs and wanted to keep him off the drugs, okay? Especially as a teenager. He's in high school. He's a young kid. You don't want to fuck himself up with the drugs. So they looked for the most natural means they could to get the most out of his training and recovery, and et cetera, et cetera. So they wound up at Daniel Chapter 1. Now, Daniel Chapter 1 sports nutritionist, we also had a branch called World Sports Nutrition. And that was more for the athletics and bodybuilding and stuff like that. And back then, people didn't know about supplements. I mean, they were cutting edge, hands down, getting performance out of people that thought, would only be achieved by drugs. Now, granted, if someone took steroids, they'd be better than these people who were just on the nutritional aspect. But you saw people on the nutritional aspect using the supplements just fucking blow away people that were not. So now you're like, okay, there's something to it. There seems to be not on steroids, and in between, where this nutritional counseling and nutritional supplements they were using, that put them in the middle of the pack, which was still further than the people that weren't using it. So there was no placebo effect. I saw the results week in and week out, time and time again, with their athletes and just their people in general. And as I started to learn more about how the body worked as far as nutrients based, as far as protein, carbs, and fats, and then other things that you could put in your body. Like at the time, they were talking about, let's shut this message off. Those messages fucking annoy me. At the time, they were talking about like boron and Smilex and dibingazide and all these fucking random, these supplements that were anabolic, but none of them really panned out. But now you had Jim Figio from Daniel Chapter 1, who's using stuff like inosine, who's using stuff like, it was just a carb and protein-based supplement, okay, which he would use. AM, PM was like the meal replacement. Pre-post was the pre-workout, during pre-workout, and post-workout. Yes, Jim was doing intra-workout drinks back in 1991. Okay, before anybody even fucking heard of it. He used a maltodextrin-based supplement that he called Carbogains, Carbomax, whatever the fuck it was. He then came out with an electrolyte formula that had mega carbs. That was the name of it. He had mega carbs with the electrolyte formula, called it electrocarbs. Okay, and now what he would do is he would supplement his athletes with these shakes that had protein, carbs, and fats in them, but also had stuff like MCTs, which they would add. It had a vitamin mineral mix inside of it. They were being covered nutritionally where the average person wasn't, no matter how good they were eating. Now, he also used stuff like MCTs as an energy source. Now, if someone's sipping on these MCTs at a wrestling tournament in between their bouts, their matches, a little bit of MCT, some inosine, they now had more ATP production and more energy based on the fact that they had more fuel. So now I have seen legitimate gains, and I'm not talking about like, just on the bodybuilding stage, but in athletics in general, based on nutritional supplements being added to the training regimen and the food intake. So my view on the supplement industry is they have, without a doubt, done a smoke and mirrors thing where they promise all these gains and steroid replacements and steroid alternatives that they've done for years and years and years, and people are not fucking stupid anymore. And I think that what's happening now is they're realizing that it's all based on training and nutrition, and the supplements are, in fact, supplements. So they're doing stuff like pre-workout supplements now. Well, why is a pre-workout so important? Because you can push harder in the gym. They're flat out telling you in the gym you're training harder, you're going to get better results. This helps you train harder, better results. Now they're coming out with intra-workout, post-workout shakes. Why? Because they need that. Some people, when they're training a long time, need that intramuscular, Jesus Christ. Don't inject this shit intramuscular. This intra-workout infusion of nutrients. They need post-workout infusion of nutrients. They have stuff like meal replacements. Why? Because they understand that if you're on the road, let's face facts, there's a lot of times where I use supplements where I'm not going to be able to eat food, period. I'm running around and busy, but I'd rather get those nutrients in. So, my take on the whole thing is, foods are great, but I know that, like Rich talks about the 5%ers. There's not a whole, that's 5% of the population, let's face facts. And of those 5%ers, there's probably even less of a percent that actually will go 100% in hardcore as far as they possibly can to a certain extreme where they almost fucking kill themselves to get to the stage. Without that, there's now 95% of people out there. So you take the 5%ers out, you have 95%. What the fuck would those other 95% people do if there were no supplements? Do they just not get any gains? Are they just left out? Does nobody care about them? That 95% people, the 95%ers I'll call them, those are the people that nutritional supplements will work very well for. Period. That's who they're marketed to. And, I personally consider myself a former 5%er because now at this stage I'm not competing anymore. I don't have to do the shit that I did. I'm not trying to increase my gains. I'm just trying to train to maintain. So now, you know what? If I want a shake instead of a meal, fuck it. I have a shake instead of a meal. It doesn't affect my life that much. But I do understand both sides of the coin, and I have seen both sides where, the 5%ers go hardcore, they do what they have to do, but the other 95%, they need stuff too. And you know what? The market is really about them. It's not about the 5%ers. So I guess it boils down to where you are, what you're doing, and what your results and your gains that you need are. But I definitely see a fact that, for a fact, we need some of the supplements that are out right now in the supplement industry. We need the multivitamins. We need the micronutrients that we're not getting in. We need the greens formulas. We need this stuff, okay? And some people need the meal replacement formulas because they are not going to be able to do what they have to do. I have people that work 70-hour-a-week jobs. That is their life. They are not a 5%er. They're not going to be a pro bodybuilder. They're not having any plans of getting on stage. And they need a supplement because why? They'll skip their meals, and they're not going to eat them later on when they get home. They need to have that supplement. So there were a lot of bullshit out there in the supplement industry that I think they're trying to take advantage of science that they twist to try to put it out there and say this is what this is going to do because science says this. But there's also a lot of basic level supplements like the meal replacements and multis and stuff like that that are needed to meet nutritional needs. Bio3training@gmail.com. It's all these fucking stripes from the sun. www.bio3training.com is the blog, and where this is the new. Wow, look at that. It's fucking psychedelic. The nutritional needs bicep, and we're out.